Hey guys, welcome back again. Dave's Dementia. Welcome back again for another video. Welcome back again to the channel. There's your home for tech, toys, and talk. And of course, the channel where chaos and insanity will always reign supreme. So yeah, as you guys can see, I'm in the middle of printing something right now. Um, what we're printing, we're going to get more into. I'm going to explain a little bit more. But first, when it comes to having your 3D printer, just it's the same as with everything in life. Your house, uh, your car, bicycles, cell phones, computers, anything. There's maintenance you have to do. There are certain things you have to do to improve the quality of life, right? When it comes to your car, every so often you have to get an oil change, right? After so many miles, you got to get your oil change, right? You got to have your transmission fluid, all your fluids, washed out, drains and replaced, right? When it comes to even ourselves, we go to checkups to our doctors, right? We have to do some exercise. We have to do this, we have to make sure we're, you know, using our medicine, taking our vitamins. Uh, we have to do our maintenance so we can live longer and last longer. And so that we can move around and we can do all the things that we want to do, right? That's quality of life. It happens. Your cell phone, once a week, you should at least be turning your phone off once a week, doing a full restart reboot, right? Your computer, every now and again, if you're a computer person, you have to open up your case and you got to clean out all the dust and dirt and everything. Make sure all the wires and everything are still seated properly. If there's anything that, if there's, looks like something needs to be replaced, you replace it, right? These are basic things in life, guys. Okay? Same thing is true about 3D printing. 3D printing, sometimes you have to do some changes to improve the quality of life. And I'm going to go over a few things. This video is going to be kind of my journey into 3D printing, uh, my trials, my tribulations, my stumbles, my failures, which, trust me, are numerous. But we're going to go into that in just a second here, guys. Now, obviously, you can see I got a little project going on. I love Bamboo. Now, full disclosure, I am not affiliated with Bamboo. I am not connected with them in any shape or form. It's just that my first Bamboo printer, this technically is a P1S right now, but it started as a P1P, believe it or not. We'll get into that in just a moment here. Now, several years ago, I've had this printer for about a year and a half, maybe. But several years ago, I started off with something a little bit different. I started off with an Ender Max. Actually, let me just shrink my camera down. So the Ender Max, I don't know if you guys can see this right here. There are a few crank knobs here, a few knobs that have to be adjusted in order to properly level the bed of the printer. Now, this is an open air, I call it an open air printer now. I've always told people I am nothing but a complete novice when it comes to 3D printing. I will never consider myself a pro. Even 5, 10 years from now, I will always consider myself a novice. Okay? Now, on this printer, this is an open air printer, and it does not rise up and down like you see so many printers nowadays. This slides back and forth, left and right. This basically, this extruder and nozzle, this hot end, this basically will rise up and down and move from side to side. And you have your bed may shift backwards or forwards, and that's about it. That's all this motion. This also does not connect to the Wi-Fi, does not connect to the internet in any shape or form. This, you had to basically, there's a little slot in the front where you would pull out a small micro SD card, and you'd have to load your files from your computer and then put the micro SD card back into the printer and load your files and select them that way using the knob on the front of it. Okay? Has a fairly decent LED screen. This is, I would say, I thought that this was an amazing starter printer. However, my problem is I could not level it to save my life. If your printer bed is not leveled properly, your prints are going to be terrible. They're going to be off. There's so many different issues, but also one issue is this. If you're watching this and this is your first time hearing anything about 3D printing, you've heard about it, but you don't know much about the science. Well, here's two things that heat up the nozzle in the hot end up here in the extruder. Uh, it heats up here. Okay, you have your filament. Usually, there's a spool right here. It feeds up here, goes into here. Right now, this heats up, but also the bed heats up. So then, when it basically takes the filament, heats it up, and a small string is then applied from the nozzle to the bed itself, and it's being laid on to the bed. Now, if the bed was cold, it would be hard for that plastic, that PLA material, that PETG, whatever materials you're using. And with this printer, I believe only PLA is actually usable, or PLA plus. Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong, please, in the comment section below. Like I said, I'm a novice. Now, if it's cold, it's not going to adhere to it. Heating up the bed allows for that material to stick to the bed so that you can print. Just like when you print a letter, you print a picture off your computer. Your printer prints line by line by line by line. When it comes to 3D printing, instead of lines, we call them layers. Okay? And eventually you create a three-dimensional object. Now, unfortunately, I could not get this to level to save my life. I used all the different methods. There was some G code that I got through several different sources, including my younger brother at the time was actually doing amazing with 3D printing. He gave me a special G code that allowed me to try and where basically the corners of the bed, the nozzle would apply itself to it, and I had to readjust the knobs so that there was just enough space so that the nozzle could kind of touch the paper but not rip it. And if you slide it back and forth, that meant that yes, you leveled it properly. And so you had the four corners and the center point. I can never get all five to work properly. Okay. Call it hand and eye coordination issues, which I've had all my life. That's a whole other story. But suffice to say, this printer was not for me. It was not for me. It was a terrible experience. Some people would say, you know what, I'm just going to give up on 3D printing. That was not me. I was like, I spent about a year and change, maybe, trying to see what I could do, what I was doing wrong. I was watching hundreds of hours of videos, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't figure out what my issue was other than bed leveling. And also, for some reason, maybe it was the infills. There were so many failures. I had like maybe one or two successes out of hundreds, if not thousands, maybe 1,000 or so projects that just completely failed. I was like, how can I build a computer, but I couldn't do this. I was beating myself up crazy. I really was. You know, it was just something that I could not wrap my head around. Like, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? I mean, I bought the printer brand new. I assembled it. I got it to assemble. I was like thinking, did I do something wrong? I even had one or two friends come over, take a look at the printer, say, hey, have I done anything wrong? Like, no, you've assembled it perfect. It's in one solid piece. Everything is assembled. You don't have things too loose or too tight. You did it not, spot on. I just couldn't get it to work properly. I even reached out to their support, like, hey, could there be an issue? No, none of that. So I eventually sold that printer on Marketplace for much less than what I paid for. And that's another thing. When it comes to 3D printing, 3D printers, if you buy one and you try and sell it, you're gonna take a loss on it. That's a simple fact of life. Okay. Now, what happened was, what was Dave's next step in this whole process? Well, Dave's wife, Mrs. Dimension, works with this very awesome guy, and he basically said, "Hey, you talking about your husband has an interest in 3D printing? How is that going?" She told him, and he said, "Hey, maybe he should try. You should maybe get this printer instead." And he spun me onto Bamboo Labs. Okay. Now this is the P1S. This is basically printer what my printer looks like now. Okay. It has the full enclosure. It has a tempered glass door and top. And I do have the AMS. Now this one actually it currently for the AMS and the printer itself currently is retailing at $749. Now originally when this printer first came out, it was priced at $699 if I remember correctly. So I did not wind up getting this one because of finances. Because I'm on I'm on a budget. I can't necessarily buy $1,000 printers left and right all over the place. I wish I could. So what happened was I started off with the P1P. Okay. Yes, as you heard me say before, I'm not a fan of the open air printers because of temperature controls. But this one, I was like, hey, this seems a little bit different. Let me give this a try. And if I really want to have more control with temperatures, I can always buy the enclosure kit, which is what I did. But this printer, this was a quantum leap from the Ender 3 Max. It has a built-in webcam. It has a light, pre-installed LED light and webcam. And you might be saying, webcam? Wait a minute. You said the other printer wasn't connected to the internet. It wasn't, but this one was. Okay? So this one literally was a quantum leap. It did everything I wanted to do and more. Uh, so that's the thing. I mean, with this printer, I was able to actually print things. I did have some failed. I did have some failures. Not a ton, but I did have failures. And of course, what I did was I did research. Watching videos on the old YouTubes. Uh, Checking out all the different groups on Facebook and everywhere else. And this printer has. I mean, it's a nice solid base, and the way it prints is a XYZ axis, up, down, and the extruder does move left to right and back and forth, but the bed levels itself. Every time I send a print, I send a file to this printer, which by the way, this printer connects wirelessly. Okay, obviously you can see that right here. So it sends it wirelessly. Now it does have a port for micro SD, so if I needed to send, if the internet was down, I could do offline printing. I can upload a file on a micro SD card, pop it into the printer, and Bob's your uncle. Now, of course, this is the live feed right now, and you guys can see that I'm printing. Now, let's go back. So, this printer was amazing. I loved it, and this is the same printer I have right now. But as you can see, it was open. So it was open to now. Full disclosure, we have 3 cats. So there is animal dander. We are in an apartment that is wall-to-wall carpeting. I wish it was wood floors, but that's a whole other discussion right there. So there is a lot of dust. There is a lot of debris. We live in with the Western New York area, which is like Buffalo to Niagara Falls area. We get a lot of cold weather. So that's another thing is like you get cold air coming through the window. Even if you have the window closed, you still have those different changes in temperatures. So that also was affecting a lot of my prints because I was trying to be ambitious. I was trying to print stuff that, because obviously you guys know I'm into Ghostbusters, I'm into cosplay, I've done a lot of crazy things, and part of the problem was a lot of them were there was failure because changes in air pressure. Also, there was dust. I was honestly cleaning this printer on a regular basis, like literally every single day. So there were a lot of mitigating circumstances. Your environment is going to play a big factor on your success, at least in my book. So eventually, what I did was, now we did have the AMS. You might be saying, Dave, how can you do the AMS when this is all open? I did. Literally, I had the AMS sitting on top of this thing. It was a little sketchy, to be honest. I'm not going to lie. Now, if you don't know what the AMS is, it is Bamboo's proprietary multi-filament accessory. Okay? Now, what that does is the AMS, this is the regular AMS that I have. Okay? This allows you to have 4 different color filaments in here. So if you want to print a multicolor device, and yes, you can actually rig up to 4 AMS. 4 times 4, 16. So you can have up to 16 different colors. You can do some pretty amazing things with that, okay? Now, they do sell the hub separately, and you can have up to 16 colors, 4 different AMS on one printer, which is pretty phenomenal, right? So we had this, so I was able to print things, and then I was like, well, I need that enclosure, okay? So I went and I got the enclosure kit. Let me see if I can pull this up here. It was like $200 or $300. And really, in hindsight, I probably should have just went for the P1S originally, but your boy didn't. So, let's see here. I don't know if they still offer it. They might. I probably just can't find it here. Sometimes their site can be a little different, a little interesting. So I did the enclosure kit and turned the P1P into P1S. So that was putting these plastic panels on. Now there's a lot of what they have is they have their P series. That was P1P into the P1S, which I converted. Okay. Now, so you get these plastic enclosures that wrap all around. You're also putting some new fans and filters inside because this is going to be enclosed, so it has to release some of that excess heat because you want to have a specific temperature on the inside. Well, also there are fumes because it is plastic. It is plastic that is being melted, right? So that filament is going to have vapors, and there are some materials, ABS, PETG. There's all these. There's ASA. There's all these different materials and filaments that you can print with, but some of them have strong vapors. So you have a filter. You have several fans on the inside. So you want to have those fumes kind of filtered and vented out so that you're not getting sick when you open up that door and get just rushed with that vapor. You don't want to get sick. Asthmatic here. So I'm definitely trying to avoid that at all costs. So we got this. So tempered glass front, tempered glass on the back. AMS sits on the top. Bob's your uncle. And I've been printing amazingly ever since then. Now there is a combo now. They have a Pro. Now the AMS2 Pro that you see here, that's the one that they currently show. It does something called drying. It will dry your filament. Okay. Now, those that don't know, here, because I have the AMS connected to the P1S. Now, the other day, my filament had a moisture level. It was D, almost to E. Okay. As you notice, it's to A right now. I'll get to that in just a few moments. But what happens is you have moisture and humidity. Okay, that causes you to have plastic will react very differently. You'll get stringing effect where it looks like these plastic hairs are forming over the prints, or you get some buckling under the prints. It causes some massive, massive, massive issues. Okay, it will cause you more failures in the future. So it's great that there's a sensor inside that detects that. Now, what you usually have to do is you use this stuff. Some people call it desiccant. This is a silica gel. These little gel balls that you put inside some 3D printed cartridges that you can actually put inside your AMS. Okay, that's this stuff right here. Not this entire section here, but 2 of these small ones and 3 of these thicker ones. You fill them up, you put it inside, and literally, not even a full day, it went from D all the way to A. Maybe about 6 or 8 hours, maybe. Did fast work. Okay, so that helps things tremendously because there are 2 slots in the back of the AMS where you can put desiccant packets. Okay, but the great thing about me printing those cartridges is it allows not just the back, but allows basically the entire AMS to be without the moisture. And here's some of the better parts. Okay, now this stuff. Okay, I got this stuff I think for like maybe $10 or $12 maybe on Amazon. They're pretty inexpensive, but this is reusable. If you stop and pause, you'll see reactivation. So what happens is this will turn from orange to green. Green lets me know that It's no longer doing the job. I need to replace it. But here's the best part. I can put that in a tray or even like a friggin' hell, like a paper plate or paper bowl. Put it in a microwave. Set it for what was it? I think it was 7 to 10 minutes at a 700 watt microwave, and it's gonna basically change it from green back to orange again, which means this is reusable. Now, I opened this up. As you can see, I still have about this much in there. So I got tons. So I don't even have to necessarily reuse it. I could just fill it up with more. But that's the thing. It's like that little thing is making a tremendous difference in the prints. I did this what I'm printing right now. I actually did that the other day. It failed miserably. And that's why. I failed because the moisture was messing up with the filament. And I mean, hey, we got what, another hour and a half, and this is going to be done. Okay? This is part of that other project I mentioned briefly. But little things like that improve the quality of life. Now, let's go back to the printer very quickly. Now, on the inside of the printer, you can kind of see a blue cap. Let me pull this back up. I'm sorry. I didn't have the right screen up because I'm an idiot. Uh, so yeah, this is turning out amazing. Now, if you notice here, there's this blue cap right here, right? There's this blue cap, and that is protecting this rod up here. Okay, this screw rod. Now, the top part, there's a little like a rubber kind of a bushing, if you will, or rubber grommet around it that holds it in place, plus the bolt that holds it in there. So this cap protects it. Now, that cap is also a quality of life item that you can find right on MakerWorld or on really any other sites. Yeah, I mean, hell, you can do dust cover for P1P or P1S. Type it into Google, and you'll pull this stuff up on MakerWorld. This is a cap. If you notice, there's little grooves right here, so I can replace this cap if I want to. Little bit of a blade, scissor, putty knife, whatever your flavor is. So this helps protect the dust and everything. And if there isn't any issues, this can easily pop off. Okay, for maintenance, you can make it in different materials: ASA, PETG, ABS, and PLA plus. Any colors you want, you can do that. So I've already did that. Also, I did these. The bottom part of that rod is also exposed to the elements. So you can print these two-piece plastic caps that wrap around it, and no matter whether you're lowering the bed or up or down, you're moving the bed up or down, these caps do not move, they stay in place. So that helps keep dust and crud and shreds of filament from getting inside and causing issues. Because you can imagine how pieces of filament getting caught inside the actual groove of the actual threading, if you will, of the screw rod, that can cause all kinds of issues. We don't want that. See, this is the exposed version. We don't want that. We like this. We like the covered one. It prolongs. It's going to protect the life of your printer tremendously. Okay. Of course, you can make them this whole series of colors, guys. Now they make three because you have two rods in the front on the left and the right, and then one rod in the back that you see pictured here. Okay. So yeah, I've been working on a lot of quality of life stuff. I might print these for the back of the printer. There's some filters you can do. I mean, you could spend hours upon hours. There's little extra add-ons for improving the feeder for the AMS. There's so much stuff you can do in here. You want to customize the cover of the controller. I mean, literally, you could spend so much time. You can customize this stuff if you want. You want the Bamboo Labs logo right there. You want a riser. You want to put some new LED lights in here. There's so much you can do. I mean, the door only opens so much. Now this would actually allow you to open it up a little bit more. There's tons of mods in here for you to customize however you like and to make some massive improvements. There's a nice little device called the Bamboo Touch. Or sorry, not the Bamboo Touch, but the Panda Touch for the Bamboo Labs printers, at least the P series at least. And this thing is a game changer. And who knows, maybe there's going to be a video about that coming soon. So stay tuned for that. But one of the biggest issues is you see this as poop catcher, right? That's not a joke, guys. Here, bamboo poop chute bucket. On the back of the bamboo printers is where the waste comes. Because when you're starting a job, it's going to allow a little bit of the filament to come through, and it drops through a chute. Just like when you go to the bathroom, you do your business, your toilet catches your business, right? That's basically what the printer does. When it changes colors, it has to do that every little time. Uh, Full disclosure, guys, let me show you guys this. I have a magnetic bucket that attaches to the back of my printer. Every time I'm printing something, every time it's changing color, it prints these little plastic little knobs or balls, if you will. All these, I mean, hell, this is probably enough to make almost an entire roll of filament. This is what happens. There's a lot of waste when it comes to 3D printing. There we go. Back in its spot. So, that's what we're printing right now. We're printing the next generation. This is going to be a riser. This is going to be a riser, not a Paul riser, but a riser. This is going to be a riser for the printer. This whole thing, when it's completed, let's just show you what it's going to be. See this right here? Oh, it would help if I showed you guys. Jesus. So this is what's going to happen here. We're going to build this riser. It's going to have 2 drawers, and it has a chute that actually connects to the back of the printer. So what's going to happen is, let me actually pull this up right here. There we go. There's more complex versions. There's one. This is one I would love to print, but I wanted to do something for just for the time being, and I might do this at a later date. But this one's a little bit more intricate. This one you have to, guys can see like how many different things you have to print here. I mean, this thing is so involved. It's gonna take me probably forever to do that. However, you do need to get some screws, some bolts to assemble this with. Now, some of these printers or some of these designers, they will list you links as to where you can source everything, like Amazon or Lowe's or what you need. You need 18 magnets and 60 screws as per the link. Screw M412. You know, they give you the whole list here, right? And there's also some videos to assemble these. But basically, what this is this is one massive drawer, one that's going to have your accessories, right? Tools, glue sticks, things of that nature, different adhesives, maybe grease for the actual thread rods, other things you might need. And then this is the section where you're going to have your poop, all your excess is going to drop into here and you can remove it. Now, the one I'm building is this one. It's much more simplified. You don't need any screws at all. Everything's going to snap together. You might use a little bit of 2-part adhesive or some special glue to bond everything in, and Bob's your uncle. Now, there are 2 versions. There's one where it's just one big, massive bin. You just pull the drawer out, and you clean out your waste. Now, these grooves right here, and this is one of the parts I'm printing right now, this is actually so I can slide my additional beds in. The magnetic plates, which are either textured, smooth, you might have some engineering ones, so you can actually slide them in, and it's awesome storage right there. However, the one I'm doing is this one. It is where there are 2 drawers. One drawer right here, which is where I can keep all my accessories and such, and then this would be the actual waste drawer right here. And it says Bamboo Labs right on the front of it. You can customize them. You can do them special colors. Do whatever you want. And this one, it doesn't require you to have any screws. The guy has made some updates, and there's even a PDF file. Let's just click on that. So they actually show you step by step how to assemble it, which is cool. Not everyone does that, but it's cool that they show that to you, you know? And there you go. So that is pretty awesome all onto itself. And that's what I'm building right now, guys. So I have gone a long way from the Ender Max 3 to where we are right now. Just to show you guys, we are I've built at least I've printed 3 of the parts so far. We have the chute, the actual chute, so the stuff will just fly right through here, down the ramp, and into the drawer once we're done. I have to take a little heat gun to get some of the loose filament pieces. I went with a nice, kind of a red, nice little Deadpool red burgundy with the black. I thought that would look kind of cool. It's probably going to be like another day or so before I have everything finished, because I am printing around the clock, and that's another thing with having all these different filaments. Um, I mean, hell, I could be away from home for a day or two, um, and I could stop, I can pause, I can start, pause, I can send files remotely through the app. They have a Bamboo Labs app, uh, the Handy app, as they call it, Bamboo Handy, and I can send a file here. If I don't have anything running, there's nothing inside the printer at this time, let's just say, and I saw, oh, this is a pretty cool file. I'm not going to be home for another day and a half. So let me just send that file, and I can send that file to the printer as long as I have the right filament inside and I don't need to change the colors of anything. It will automatically start running, which is pretty awesome. So I'm now I've done some pretty complex things, like hell, that friggin' proton pack right there, the Back to the Future pack. I did that in like 4 months. I took time because one, it was the first time I ever printed a proton pack to begin with. Two, I obviously it's a Back to the Future theme, so this was not your atypical proton pack. I had to come up with ideas on how I was going to approach this, approach that. I reached out to an amazing source known as Millennium Workshop. He is an amazing YouTuber, content creator, and prop master extraordinaire himself. You guys want to check him out on both Instagram and also on YouTube. He makes some amazing things. He's been an amazing resource. When I was building this pack, he helped me choose some different color paints. He gave me some amazing tips and tricks. The guy does some amazing stuff, guys. If you're into prop making, if you're hell just into 3D printing, this guy has got some amazing stuff that he's already made, and some amazing stuff in the pipeline. Uh, speaking of which, if you guys want to know, honestly, if you want to see the best review of the Bamboo Labs H2, I think he went with the H2S. It is their latest, greatest. This is a massive behemoth of a printer. You guys want to check this out. He's going to have that video coming out soon. That may be this week, so you guys want to stay tuned. But I would check out his Instagram and also his YouTube. Once again, his name is Millennium Workshop, like Millennium Falcon. He's got some amazing stuff. And also, while you're checking out his YouTube, you might also check out his merch shop. He's just an amazing creator. He has made full-size Ninja Turtle heads. He's done Greedo from Star Wars. I mean, he's done some amazing stuff. He's built Rancors. He's done some amazing stuff. He makes this stuff look so damn easy. He even has a video, if you're a Star Wars fan, of making your own custom Star Wars hilt. Starting off with like a very base looking electronics for a lightsaber, and then putting it and making your own custom hilt to give it your own flavor. And it's amazing. You guys got to check him out. But so far, the P1S, formerly the P1P, this thing I've had it for probably a year and a half, and there's so much I print in it. I print little mini puffs. I've been printing little upgrades here and there, obviously. Ghostbuster stuff. I've printed stuff for my tuna box ghost trap. Some mods for that. There's so many things I've done. I've barely scratched the surface of what you can do out there. You can do fun stuff that just makes no sense. Hell, I've made a full size 1-to-1 Mr. Fusion from Back to the Future. I've printed a hoverboard. I've printed so many different things. I mean, that proton pack, and as you can see, the time circuits and the keypad for it, that's all 3D printed right there as well. I mean, there's so much you can do. If you're into cosplay, if you're into prop making, you guys need to check out Millennium Workshop. There's a whole host of other YouTubers out there, other content creators. Um, but if you want the perspective from step by step, from a person who isn't going to talk over your head with all the techno babble, Millennium Workshop is definitely the way to go. I'm actually going to be doing some more 3D printing content. I mean, this video is 3D printing content, but we're got some additions to the Dimension. I'm going to be doing some more upgrades to the P1S, and who knows, there might be another edition later this year. We'll see if that happens. Fingers crossed, but we'll see because I want to step things up. With the current condition of the toy collectors community, there's been a lot of chaotic things going on, whether it's the tariffs or whether it's things in the community itself. I've been kind of feeling like I need to lean back to what I originally started off with. And when I first started this channel, it was me modding stuff from Spirit Halloween because I figured, hey, if I can do it, anybody can do it, which means you guys can do it. Anybody can. Anybody with a little bit of creativity can make some big changes, and that's well before I had my printer. So we're kind of trying to get back into the roots while developing some new skills, some new some new abilities, so to speak. So guys, until next time, this is Dave's Dimension saying keep on busting. And you know what I'm going to say. I say it every single time. I will always catch you on the flip side. Take care, guys.